I am Onua, Toa of Earth, and welcome to the BS01 podcast.
Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the new BS01 podcast, the podcast for Bionicle Sector 01, the largest and most up-to-date database of Bionicle information in the world that you can look up anytime and anywhere. And this is your host, Spirit. And if you want to get in touch with the BS01 team, you can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, email us at biosector01@outlook.com, or even just pop down to biosector01.com and say hello. Without further ado, here's our next exclusive interview. Okay, well, I'd like to give a special welcome to our guest today. Would you like to introduce yourself and let us know what your role is in Bionicle?
Yeah, hello, my name's William Jordan, and I played Onua, Ekimu, the Protector in the Epilogue, and Makuta in Bionicle Journey to One.
Yeah, quite the cast of characters there.
Yeah, it was fun.
So how did you get into voice acting originally?
Well, I got into acting in university. I just sort of I was a film major, and I figured that if I were to get into film, I should have a working knowledge of acting. And then that's kind of ended up what was sticking to me. So that's sort of what I ended up doing. And you know, when you're an actor and you have a baritone voice, you know, voice acting is something that obviously calls to you, and you get work doing it. Or at least I did.
And if you could play any role in any movie or TV show, what would it be?
Oh, I don't know. I'm really into historical characters. I anything that involves armor and a horse, really. I just want to wear armor and ride a horse, I think. I could get into, you know, historical reenactment, and this whole thing would be a lot easier. But I would love to get cast in a TV show or film that took place in that era, because, you know, when you're in a show, they sort of dress up the whole world of that time, and everyone's in costume, and plus you're in a character, so you can really get lost in that world. That's always the best part of when you're acting, is to really get lost in a world or a time or a character.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And certainly for that whole time period, there's a very large array of movies, TV shows that build their own mythology around it. Yeah, I imagine that'd be very immersive.
Yeah, when you can get that kind of work, it's an amazing experience.
And do you have any advice for fans who might want to get into voice acting themselves?
Well, if you have a predilection for acting, voice acting is a really cool thing to try to get into, because so much of going for auditions and so much of the acting world is based on how you look, you know, just sort of based on what you have naturally. Depends on how you get cast, because, you know, if you have to look a certain way to get cast a certain way, but with voice acting you really don't. It's sort of, you get to play characters that you would never get cast as if they could see you, and you get to make acting choices that you could really never make if you knew you could be seen, or at least, you know, you might be self-conscious about it. It's really kind of freeing. So really the only advice I'd have is just sort of have fun with it, because you can do a lot of things that you couldn't do if you're on stage or on film.
Yeah, I think that's very true for a lot of people, where it just gives them such versatility in roles, because you can change your voice slightly and you can play, well, especially for you play 4 different characters, whereas if it were all live action, it would be, you'd have to suspend your disbelief a little more.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you'd be like, why is that guy coming back again?
Okay, so let's talk about the show more specifically. So, did you audition for all 4 of those parts, or was it?
I auditioned for Ekimu and Onua, and then the other 2 roles were sort of given to me in the package. But I think those two were sort of just given to me when I got the script. I didn't. I just auditioned for Ekimu and Onua.
Okay, and what sort of direction were you given to develop your characters' voices?
Well, sort of once we got into the room, I had some ideas of how the characters would sound, and we sort of developed them into what you hear. Well, I bounced ideas off the director. He would say things like maybe he should sound a little older, he should have a little more gravel, those kind of directions. And we eventually found a voice that everyone was happy with.
Okay, and do you have a favorite line from the show?
Oh, there's always some really fun ones in the episodes to come, but
Okay.
alas, I'm not allowed to talk about those.
All right,
But
don't spoil
stay
them.
tuned. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, and did you have any trouble pronouncing some of the strange Bionicle names?
I was pretty all right, but I do remember that there was the odd slip up with the word Okotans, but I think we got over it in the end.
Okay, and were there any lines that you found particularly challenging or that you kept messing up on?
Oh, I'm sure there were, but I don't remember any off the top of my head. But sometimes you do go over lines a whole bunch of times to get it just the way the director wants it. And, you want to give the director exactly what he wants.
Okay, yeah, but nothing that's kept you up at night since.
Nothing that kept me up at night. I don't think there was anything murderously difficult.
Okay, well that's good. Now, did you improvise any lines that made it into the final production?
Some cartoons and stuff allow you to do that, but this one had a very solid script that they very much wanted you to follow. So this script was the script. There wasn't much going off with Bionicle.
Okay, and how familiar were you with Bionicle before starting the project?
Well, one of the fun things about acting is you get to really research characters and history of that kind of thing. So I wasn't that familiar when I first got the audition notice, but going into the audition, obviously, I read a bunch about it. I watched the previous iterations of these characters, previous times that Bionicle has been on screen. It's really cool to sort of get into that world. Research is always one of the fun parts of the acting experience. But by the time I went into the audition, I was fairly familiar.
Oh, okay. So what sorts of things did you look up? Like the older movies or?
Yeah, I looked in. I watched some of the older films that were made. I read about the histories online, and we just sort of got an idea what the Bionicle world's all about. Especially this new iteration in which the show takes place.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. That especially that you were able to take that time and effort to get a better understanding of your characters.
Yeah, well, you have to. You have to always. It's doing that research initially is always essential if you're going to go into a part with this kind of history.
Okay, well, thank you. Was there anything else you want to let the fans know? Because I think I'm through all my questions here.
It was a delight talking to you. I'd like to do it again sometime if you ever would like. It was a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Oh, sure. Maybe when the other episodes come out, we can find out what those great lines were that we haven't heard yet.
I look forward to it. I'll talk to you soon then.
All right, excellent. So, do you want to go through those lines now?
Yes, I'll bring them up on my computer.
So some of these are from the characters in the previous version of Bionicle, and some of them are lines that they've borrowed from other characters that might sound interesting in their voice. So it's all
Sure.
It's sort of all over for these guys.
All right. Well, shall I just begin? I'll just go through.
Yep, go ahead.
I am Ekimu, the wise master, and welcome to the BS01 podcast. Gathered friends, listen again to our legend of the Bionicle. Trust in the mask. Let it be your guide. I am Makuta, the mask hoarder, and welcome to the BS01 podcast. I bore you, for I am nothing, and out of nothing you came. and it is into nothing that you will go. The people of the world are builders, but look into their hearts, and you will find that they also have the power to destroy. I am that power. I am destruction, and I will destroy you. Shadows are everywhere, and where they are, so am I. You are a great mask maker. You could have many destinies. Come, join my brothers and me. There are 1,000 ways I could destroy you right now, and 941 of them hurt.
I could listen to you talk as Makuta all day. It's so amazing.
Thank you. I am Narmoto, the protector of fire, and welcome to the BS01 podcast. Hear now, my son, what the prophecy says. When times are dark and all hope seems lost, the protectors must unite, one from each tribe. Invoke the power of past and future, and look to the skies for an answer. When the stars align, 6 comets will bring timeless heroes to claim the masks of power and find the mask maker. United, the elements hold the power to defeat evil. United, but not one. I am Onua, Toa of Earth, and welcome to the BS01 podcast. I am Onua. I always stand firm. I am here to battle evil. It is my destiny to claim my golden mask of power and become the master of Earth. You are a Toa. Prove yourself worthy of the name. Okay, one of those words that might Toa no, how do you pronounce that
Nuva.
one word?
Nuva.
Toa Nuva. Thank you so much.
That's okay.
You did not defeat the Toa Nuva. We simply found your company so boring, we chose to take a nap. Pohatu, look around you. Mining has never been better. You should join me at it sometime. Try doing a real job.
Oh, that was amazing. So, do you have any strategies for like jumping from voice to voice like that?
You know, they all sit at different places in the body. They all have different sort of approaches to how they speak, different pacing. But yeah, it's just practice, I guess. The more you do it, the more sort of ways you can manipulate your voice and attitude.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering like if you would have any sort of strategies to sort of jump into it. All right, well, when I'm doing this character, he always says this word this way, so I need to channel that.
What's really interesting is at least I find that when you're doing voice acting, it's always really fun to watch voice actors for this reason, is because you sort of get into the character and into the place, into the setting, they always sort of bring it into their bodies. So, whenever you do a Nuan's lines, for example, as I do, he's always holding the hammer. I'm always just miming it, somehow. I don't know why, but somehow it helps. I was doing this one recently. It was for a Warhammer video game. And I was playing a pilot, and I was like pressing fake buttons on a console, and you just sort of don't realize it until someone points it out to you. It's funny in that way.
Okay, yeah, that sounds really interesting. Now, is that something they did for your recording? Because I know sometimes for like behind the scenes features, they'll actually film the voice actors.
I don't think they brought a camera in for this one.
That's unfortunate.
It probably was pretty funny to watch.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, that's really an interesting insight, I think.
Yeah, it's fun.
Okay, well, I think we're just about done here. Do you have any questions, or was there anything you wanted to know?
No, thank you for inviting me. That was lots of fun.
Oh, I had so much fun listening to you do all those lines, as well as getting to hear a little bit of how the mind of a voice actor works.
Anytime, man. Yeah, like I said, if you ever want me back, I'll be happy to Skype back with you.
Excellent. I would love to have you back on the show.
All right, cheers, man.
All right, that wraps up episode 5 of the new BS01 podcast. We've only got one more interview left in our series of Bionicle Journey to One interviews, so make sure you tune in next week to listen to it. You definitely don't want to miss it. This has been Spirit, and I'll see you next time.
Walk? Ha! Not never. If you ride with me, there'll be no foot walking, just air flying.